Hey there, and welcome to this explainer. Today, we're unpacking a deeply relatable week-long journey, one that moves from overwhelming, unpredictable chaos straight into profound, quiet peace. We're looking at a really powerful case study here. It's all about the mental health journey of shifting from being a chronic people pleaser to practicing genuine self-advocacy. We're going to see exactly how adapting to life's constant hurdles, pushing for thorough medical investigations, and, this is key, reframing our setbacks can actually lead us to those essential life-giving moments of stillness. Let's get right into it.
We're actually starting at the end, with this beautiful sensory moment. Sun rays, skin prickles, silence broken by laughter, calm washes outward. This is a haiku, actually. It was inspired by a very specific moment of finding stillness just sitting outside a school, waiting for a child named Grace. The author describes just sitting in the car, the sun shining warmly right through the glass, listening to some lo-fi beats, with an arm resting on the window ledge, tingling in the afternoon sun. I mean, it sounds totally effortless, right? But as you'll see, getting to this destination of peace, yeah, that took some serious emotional and logistical work.
So, Section 1. Navigating life's daily chaos. Because to truly appreciate that calm, we really have to understand the chaos that came first. The chaotic baseline of the week is established right away on this timeline. Just imagine starting your Monday coming straight off a grueling rotation of night shifts, right? You're just trying to recover with a late nap. But, well, life doesn't exactly stop for sleep. Before you know it, you're rallying whatever energy you have left to watch Grace perform in her dance school's summer show. And honestly, while that bone-deep tiredness hits hard, you're also just filled with pride watching her shine on stage in her happy place. But looming over all this joy and exhaustion is the ticking clock. It's the start of the final school week before the summer holidays, which, if you know, it brings its very own unique brand of logistical chaos. And the schedule disruptions? They hit immediately. See, Monday was supposed to feature 2 doctor appointments, one for a child, Max, and one for the author, but plans change in an instant. Max's appointment is completely deferred. Why? Simply because he's away on a school trip to Flamingo Land. It's just this perfect, incredibly relatable example of how daily family logistics can literally upend a carefully planned week in seconds. Moving on to Section 2, advocating for your health. Let's look at a really critical moment that happened this week. Now, this brilliantly illustrates the difference between just accepting a medical directive that doesn't quite feel right and actually advocating for yourself. Have you ever felt like a doctor just wasn't fully listening? That's what happened here. The first consultation felt rushed, and they just kind of defaulted to prescribing SSRIs. But knowing the side effects, the author pushed back and sought a second opinion. They found someone who actually considered all the symptoms and opted for much more thorough investigation. It's a total game changer. So how do you actually achieve this kind of medical advocacy, especially when it's so easy to feel intimidated in a doctor's office? Well, the author used a highly effective strategy. Step 1, write everything down on a cheat sheet before you go in. They recognized how incredibly easy it is to get flustered, to forget important details, or just fail to explain things properly when that 15-minute clock is ticking. By having a physical sheet to present the full picture, they completely bypass that anxiety. The result? Step 4, securing a much more thorough medical investigation. They left feeling so much more at ease. Seriously, if there's one thing you take away from this explainer today, let it be this. Write your symptoms and concerns down on a piece of paper before your next doctor's visit. It is an absolute lifesaver.
All right, Section 3, adapting and setting boundaries. Let's pivot and look at how therapy and managing personal hurdles fit into this chaotic week.
Wednesday brought a pretty acute moment of disappointment. It was supposed to be a day filled with excitement and maybe a few nerves, a first-time blood donation. But during the initial assessment, the donation was deferred for 3 whole months. The irony? It was specifically because of that newly secured thorough medical investigation we literally just talked about. In the author's mind, Wednesday was slapped with 2 heavy words: should have. It is so easy to just spiral when our plans to do something good are completely thwarted. But instead of wallowing in the disappointment of that should've, the author demonstrated some remarkable emotional regulation here. They understood that these strict medical rules are in place for a good reason, to protect vulnerable recipients. So they accepted the 3-month deferral with a lot of grace and kept the hope alive to be part of something bigger than themselves down the road. This resilient mindset flows perfectly into Thursday's therapy session. The therapy call tackled how planned self-activities, things meant purely for the author's own well-being, just hadn't happened because of the week's chaos and appointments. But here is the massive reframe, and I love this. Instead of viewing those missed plans as a failure, they defined it as adapting. They were actively moving planned activities around to fit family life and responsibilities. Giving yourself the grace to adapt rather than beating yourself up for not sticking to a rigid self-improvement schedule, that is a major, major victory. Because therapy isn't just about reviewing the past week, right? It's about setting your trajectory with actionable goals. And the goals laid out here are fantastic. Build on those self-activities, take baby steps towards assertiveness, and actively work to become less of a people pleaser. Now, as the author notes, they might need a little luck with that last one, but just recognizing the need to shift from people-pleasing to self-advocacy, which they literally just proved they could do in the doctor's office, shows they're already well on their way. Finally, Section 4, Finding Peace in Stillness. A remarkably smooth blood test on Thursday brings this whole chaotic journey toward its final destination. When we step back and review this overwhelming list of the week's hurdles, look at it. The physical exhaustion of night shifts, navigating multiple doctor appointments, intense therapy sessions, the heavy uncertainty of medical investigations, and the sting of a deferred blood donation, it paints a picture of a truly heavily chaotic week. But honestly, seeing all of this stacked up makes the peaceful ending we are about to discuss just that much more impactful. It's completely earned. Which brings us right back to where we started the explainer. Sitting outside the school in the warm sunshine, listening to distant laughter. Everything finally felt still. As the author beautifully put it, what a difference one moment can make to a day and a week. After all that chaos, those few quiet minutes served as a powerful reminder of how much peace can be found in the smallest of moments. The exhausting journey from people-pleasing and chaos all the way through self-advocacy and adaptation ultimately led right here to this well-deserved calm.
So as we wrap up this explainer today, I want you to take a look at your own busy schedule, because we all have our own version of night shifts, sudden cancellations, doctor's appointments, and personal adaptations, don't we? The chaos is practically inevitable, but the calm, that calm is something you have to purposefully advocate for and be open to receiving. So I'll leave you with this vital question to think about. In the middle of your own chaotic week, where will you find your few quiet minutes?